Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome back to another Run Pure update. PGA is back in full swing and our members have been crushing it with all of the great content we've been putting out. And speaking of crushing it, we had some monster hits this past weekend thanks to our guy Sepp Straka, who was one of AP's top picks for the Honda Classic. The Discord was overflowing with big wins this weekend, including a monster shipper by JN Gendry 912, who won over $275K on DraftKings. AJG 12991 pulled in $100K on DraftKings as well, and of course, AP himself rode Straka to a $50K win to cap off a great PGA weekend for Run Pure Sports. We'll be producing PGA content throughout the week, both free and premium, including main slate and showdowns. So make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on those notifications so you don't miss out when we drop any content. And speaking of PGA, we are 1 week away from the Players Championship, one of the biggest events of the year. So let's recap last year's event when Big T took down the PGA Millie Maker.
Anytime I can get 4 par 5s with Bryson, I'll take Bryson still. I'll take my chances, but I'm taking JT at 20 to 1. I don't even care that we like the same dude. I gotta find something in the mid-range here. Let's see.
Take Burns, you take Connors.
Yeah, definitely. I want Connors. I'm taking Sergio at 80 to 1 for my mid-range. Harmon's 225 to 1. Dylan Smith just made fun of me. Sergio, yeah, he's 80 to 1. Dylan Smith, stop. Chris Myers says Big T is going to take advantage of himself tonight. That is not true either. The wife is waiting for me. I guarantee that. So stop.
Shit, wife's waiting for you.
She text me during the show asking me when I'm coming up, so stop.
Sign up today for a premium subscription to Run Pure Sports and take advantage of our combo deal with SaberSim to dominate in PGA as well as other sports this year. Access our content for all sports in addition to SaberSim's revolutionary DFS optimizer and projection system for one low monthly price. That's it for this week. As always, we will be back for more. Make sure you guys keep an eye out on Twitter. I've been giving out some PGA winners myself. But with that being said, make sure you do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got a new NASCAR show debuting this Sunday, but in the meantime, let's keep running pure.
What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Hit the like, hit the subscribe as always right when you're in here. You guys know the drill. Joined by my boy, Hoop, as you guys saw yesterday, and Mangone. Coming off double duty. You just got off the Bet Show with Spread and with Tyler. So if you haven't checked out the Bet Show, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, Spread, Tyler, they grinded every single day. The rundown on the Bets channel, Run Pure Bets. Make sure you check that out. So Mangone's already dove in for some winners. See, AP, the playbook's already up. The heat map's already up. Got some cash chart stuff. The beginning stuff is already up. So content's already on the site. A nice 6-game slate. And Mangone, I haven't had a show with you for a while because of the NBA All-Star break, but I got to give you some props. The NHL show that you did, Mangone, you absolutely killed that. I was very, very impressed with your NHL knowledge for a sport that I don't know how much you know about NHL. I really don't think you know too many players in it. But we always talk about it. A lot of DFS, it's all game theory, stuff like that. Matty Ice, EJ provide very good content. And you absolutely crushed the NHL shows, Mangone. So I wanted to give you props there. But I think you are now probably booked in every single year. The NBA All-Star break, I think you're going to be booked in every single one for those shows because you did really good. So I wanted to say that and talk to the people. I don't think we've seen you for a while.
Yeah, I said I'll definitely want to do some more NHL. So I don't think I can do them like every day. Like it would get tough for sure with both the sports, but I liked it. And actually, I played NHL back in the day a little bit. So back when I started, I actually grinded both together. But prize pools kind of change stuff, and volume. It's just like you get more down in NBA. But NHL was fun, and watching NHL over the years helped because Zach Parise was one guy in my core. He was like 3% owned, got like 36 fantasy points, and like, hey, he was a devil. So maybe growing up in New Jersey helped too. I mean, I knew Parise was a talented guy, one of those older guys, and got the job done. Which you can see sometimes. Like Mo Williams is one of those guys. Was a talented basketball player and dropped 50 points one day when he was older. So that happens here and there with some of these, talented guys that get older. But nice little NBA slate. I like today's slate a little bit, but I'm curious to get the breakdown from you guys on everything because it seems like a day where, I don't know, like Luka's just going to be like very high owned. And it feels like a lot of teams are going to be like very similar. So it feels like some of like the differences are going to be in the mid tier. So definitely excited to break this thing down. And it's a news-based slate too. So, I'm a little excited about that. We'll get news that'll be happening. We'll be in the Discord chat, breaking it all down and doing our best to try and, help people win all the money. Because again, this Nets news is going to be big. A lot of this news that comes like right after a lock, like Van Edwards sits, that's going to be huge too. So construction is going to be really key on this slate, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Zach Breezy, that is a name that I haven't heard in a long time, but I know what you're talking about. When I was in the NHL streets this past weekend, I always play the narratives. Kevin Fiala used to play in the Milwaukee Admirals. I was going high school, middle school. I don't even remember. I was taking field trips watching the Milwaukee Admirals, and Fiala was the best player. So played him that one day. He had like 22 points for me, scored a goal, and did really well. So the hockey team, Maddie, EJ. I see there's a nice slate today. I saw Maddie's tweet. So, hey, check out the hockey content. That's already up. They don't have late news nearly as much as NBA does and have to be on your computer. So you can throw in some lineups while you're watching this show and get the winners from them. Hoop, I'll go over to you. Big PGA show, one of the three of the best in the industry. You, AP, Snyder today on Tuesday, breaking it down. Prize pool is always massive, no different this week. Talk to the people about the PGA show and anything else going on in your world.
Yeah, PGA's been, on fire. Obviously, we talk about it every week, but it just continues. Before I get into that, though, yeah, it's a great job on the NHL show. Mangone and the team, really stepped up during the NBA All-Star break. But for me personally, like in DFS, you have to draw the line somewhere. At least I have to draw the line somewhere. And where I draw the line is with hockey. I cannot do hockey. Like, hockey is a sport that I've just never had like any interest in whatsoever.
Big T was even in the streets hooping. He chirps
Big T's
all the time.
See, Big T's one of those guys. He doesn't have a line. He's playing anything. Like, I have a line. Like, I don't mess with NHL all that much. College football, I don't mess with. College basketball, those guys grind those out, though. So, I mean, it's definitely good. Can find the edge, but the hockey team did a phenomenal job last week with the NBA on break. I know a lot of people had big wins, but, I mean, that PGA stuff just continues to rear its head. I mean, we just another phenomenal week for the members. I mean, I was right up there to win the $15 $250K, and like I talked about yesterday, I'm absolutely pissed that I didn't win it, but it makes it a little less miserable when a member takes first and a member takes second in that thing. So we're all up there. I mean, it was every contest on DraftKings had an RPS tag at the top for the most part. It's been like that, since the beginning, and for the last like 7 or 8 weeks, the beginning of this PGA season, not the swing season, but this regular season where the prize pools got up there. And it's just, you listen to a lot of the content around the industry, and what we do is way different than everyone else. I mean, the one thing that just irks me, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole because I've done it a ton, but it's like, these guys talk about chalk and PGA, and like the common theme around the industry, if a guy's like 12% owned in PGA, he's quote unquote chalk, and you got to fade him. Like, I don't know if they don't play any other sports. Like in NBA, if you play NBA and you play a 12% guy, like that's like unowned in the NBA streets, right? It's only 12%. In PGA, they got this mindset where if a guy gets any ownership, you can't play him. He's going to be chalky. 12%, he's chalky. I get the player pools are big in PGA, but the mindset is just so different. I mean, tune into the show tonight. We got the Wednesday show tomorrow. We got the Showdown shows again back this week for round 2, round 3, round 4. We have all the content, playbook, core plays, cash chart, which is essentially my player pool with core plays. We have the tiers. We have the write-ups to go along with the core plays. Snyder does the breakdown for every Showdown slate with core plays from 4 or 5 of us at the top of the playbook. It's been a great product, and it's turning into one of our more popular products over here at Run Pure Sports, probably because of all the success. And AP topped it off this weekend with a $50,000 win. We had the guy that won the $250,000. We had the guy that finished second in that contest for $100,000 and a ton of more wins. And I mean, the screenshots, you saw a lot of people winning life-changing money off of $40, $50, $60, $100. So we're really proud of the PGA product that we have over here at Run Pure Sports.
Yeah, I was scrolling through. I'm always in the golf streets. It's hard if you're a member, an RPS member, and you're not in the golf streets, you're definitely doing something wrong. But I was looking at them like Thursday going into Friday. RPS members were littered every single contest. They were up there. A lot of sweats in the 5 and that 15. So check it out. If you're not a golf member, if you don't have to know anything about golf. I don't follow golf. I hardly watch any of it. They just give you the winners, just like every other sport. And Hoop led me into the next segment. Members never win. Talked about AP, the $50,000 win for AP. He had a lot of bullets in that $5 up top. I saw too. AP, congrats to you. AJG12991, $100,000. I believe he's the one that took second in that one. Congrats to you. Then the big one, JN Gingery 912, $275,000. And yeah, yesterday I said I thought it was like $150 or something. He had $36, I believe, with that one lineup where he just shipped everything. I think he had 140 total. So maybe he had like 4 lineups or something. And he just put it in all those contests. And man, $140 into $275,000. Congrats to you. That is life-changing money. That is really awesome stuff. Got some people in chat. We got Dez, Colin, Drew, Steve Coy, Aaron, K Fleek. What's going on? Steve Anthony, Brittany, Shady Goat. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for us, please. We appreciate it. We got 6 games on this slate. Man, going, you were talking, it's an interesting slate because we definitely are waiting for some news. And then we looks like a lot of chalk concentrated at the top, as you mentioned. Luka Doncic on both sides. He looks like to be the clear pay up. We don't have too many pay ups on this slate, which is why I think it's so condensed too. But we'll dive into it. We'll talk about potential pivots, stuff like that. We'll get right into the first game, though. Hit the like I said, hit that big subscribe button to the bottom right and do us a favor. The first game of the night starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is the lone 7 p.m. Eastern game. Detroit Pistons, the Washington Wizards. Washington is favored by 3.5. On the Washington side, Bradley Beal and Porzingis are still out. So yeah, that's pretty big news for them. As far as the Detroit side, Marvin Bagley doubtful, Frank Jackson probable, Hamidou Diallo is questionable. Man, I'll throw it right to you. You said we are waiting for some news on the slate. Fred VanVleet, Anunoby, Anthony Edwards. So we have some big news, and this game locks on an island by itself. We might get the Raptors news. It starts at 7:30. We've got that news yesterday. Nick Nurse said Fred VanVleet was unlikely to play like an hour before, maybe even a little more. So we got that news. Assuming we get the Toronto news before this game, talk about if you have interest in it. And then if we don't, are you just going to full fade it and wait for the news?
Yeah, definitely going to be really important. I don't think you full fade this first game. Gafford's a really good play. Definitely probably the best play in this game. You could argue he's the best play on the slate at that price tag of 3.6K. Definitely is someone that I'm looking to get exposure to. This is the Detroit Pistons. They give up a ton of fantasy points. They also play bigger with Isaiah Stewart, so he's definitely going to be someone I'm considering in my lineups. The next guy to talk about is KCP, because I think KCP is fine. Like, KCP is someone that I'm considering playing today, but man, like, KCP chalk is not the greatest chalk. Like, Hoop talks about like golf chalk, and like I agree with what he was saying. Like, it's all about your full lineup construction, and I agree. I think in NBA it is about your full lineup construction too. But KCP, let's say he ends up being 50% owned because he seems like he's one of the better values on this slate. Well, what happens if you get locked into news, or news happens, you get locked into KCP, and now D'Angelo Russell is an option that you can plug in the shooting guard spot. Sure, you can play him at point guard, but what if Fred VanVleet sits? And then we have Malachi Flynn at 3K. It's just, there could be a route where plugging D'Angelo Russell in at shooting guard, if Ant sits, is more valuable than going like a KCP. Of course, KCP can still get there and have a good game, but he is only eligible at the shooting guard position. He doesn't have the small forward flexibility, so that does matter to me, and that's something I am thinking about when building out my lineups. I think Kyle Kuzma at 9.2, man, it does feel like it's a lot of money, but these studs today aren't the greatest, and he's had 60 fantasy points last 2 games. Of course, it's in the range of outcomes. The shot attempts are there. The rebounds are there as well. I think it's possible to go Kyle Kuzma at the price, but man, there's other guys I'm going to instead, at least at this time. Like, I wouldn't tell someone like not to do it, but it's something I'm currently not doing. I'm not going to probably end up doing it. And then on the Pistons side, I don't trust too many guys here. I think Cade Cunningham having that small forward eligibility could matter at that 7.5K price tag. I prefer him more on FanDuel at 7K. And then the guy that's really key to talk about is Marvin Bagley's doubtful. And if Marvin Bagley doesn't play, man, Kelly Olynyk at 4.9, he feels like he's more locked into that like 18 to 26 minute range where if Kelly O gets that run, the usage is certainly there. I think he could be pretty decent. And Washington is a good team to attack with big men. So I really do think that Kelly Olynyk, especially at the power forward position, not the center position, because I don't want to lock myself out of that because we need the Andre Drummond news. I think Kelly Olynyk at power forward at 4.9K is definitely something that we need to be considering on this slate. So really the two guys that I like the most in this game are Gafford and Kelly Olynyk. KCP is someone I have some interest in as well, but I'm definitely more cautious with him on this slate. I know it's a nice revenge spot against the Pistons, but I'm definitely not like super excited to play KCP. He might be like a guy that I plug and play for some value, but I'm really looking to maybe get some other value plays and see how the news shapes out rather than lock into KCP.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And your Kelly Olynyk point, I mean, last game, he absolutely smashed. He had 40 DFS points, but he only played 24 minutes. And that's what he said. Like, he's locked into 18 to 26 pretty much. But there's no way like he can go more than 26, it seems, unless a lot of foul trouble or something, because you can't have a better game than what he played last game. And he only played 24 minutes. He hardly got any run in that fourth quarter late. They put him in on the last play of the game and he hits a game winner buzzer beater. So it sucks. I wish I could, like, I wish Kelly O had the 30-minute plus upside. You can't play better than he did. There's no way. I'd be shocked to see him get to 30 minutes or something like that. But yeah, I mean, he was 3.7. He gets a pretty big price bump. He's 4.9K. I don't think anyone's going to play him. And he's going to be out there and he's going to chuck the ball when he gets it. So
yeah, and title, it's key to mention at this time, right? It's 5 o'clock. Value's not that good right now. Value could get way better as we go on, and Kelly O could just be thrown away. So that's why we're talking about him right now. If guys sit, that's going to be key. And it's one of those nights where like you're probably not walking away right at 7, right? You need to kind of wait like 30 minutes or maybe even 45 minutes later to kind of finalize your lineups completely today. And if you lock into Kelly O, it could mess up your construction as well. So that's another balancing act you have to do with it as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And then the Kyle Kuzma point, man, 9.2K, like it feels steep, but he deserves to be 9.2K for how he's been playing this year with the injuries they have. The minutes are there. He's absolutely going to chuck. And I do think he gets pretty overlooked in this upper tier range. So I wouldn't mind playing a Kyle Kuzma early. He has that big ceiling, can get you on a different path than most. So I do like that call for sure. Hoop, I'll go to you. Talk about this game. Then one guy I want you to talk about a little bit is Isaiah Stewart at 5K. He's only center eligible, but we talked about Marvin Bagley being doubtful. He's going to get the minutes a lot more than Kelly O. Foul trouble is always a little concern, but he has double-double upside. And at 5K, if he gets a double-double, I would take that. So talk about him specifically and then this game.
Yeah, I mean, this game, it is kind of tough because we have news we have to wait on. And if we don't have the news, it's hard to lock into these guys. But if we wait and the news doesn't fall the right way, then a lot of these guys are guys that were kind of like borderline plays that we probably would have played, if you get what I'm saying. It makes it kind of difficult on the slate because, yeah, I mean, Daniel Gafford, I think, is a clear play no matter what. I agree with Mangone. 3.6K, I'll just play him, not worry about the news. But there's a lot of like fringe plays here that I'd have interest in, like KCP, even Raul Neto, Isaiah Stewart, like you said, playing 28, 29 minutes, and he's been right around, what do you get, 23 fantasy points, then 30 fantasy points at 5K. He'd be like a last guy in type play that I'd be fine with. Olynyk, I mean, probably only if you're doing 150 teams, would I include Olynyk? But there's a lot of like fringe plays here that if I know some of those guys later actually play, like if I know, Drummond's going to play, if I know that Van Fleet's going to play, and then Anthony Edwards, I'd have way more exposure to this game. But if we don't have all this news at 7, I'm probably fine just playing Daniel Gafford and then waiting. I don't want to lock myself into a fringe play and then better plays open up. So that's kind of how I plan to attack this game. Gafford in play, regardless of what happens with the other guys. But if we don't have the news at 7, probably not coming here. And honestly, at least a couple, one of those 3 are going to sit. And then that would open up a ton of value between Drummond, Van Fleet, and Anthony Edwards. Just it takes one of those guys to sit, and then we have really solid value plays. So I'm kind of going under the assumption that I'm probably just going to be on Gafford here, and then, not anything else. Kuzma at 9.2K, no one's going to play him. But back-to-back 60 burgers. So if you have a conviction on Kyle Kuzma, I think you can get him at low ownership here tonight. The rest of the Pistons guys, I don't know. I just typically don't play the Pistons. It's worked out well for most of the season. I'm going to continue down that path tonight.
Yep, absolutely. I get it for sure. The Drummond news, they play at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Toronto news, they play at 7:30. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves play at 8 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be interesting when we get this news. It's not like yesterday where you get that hour and you can turn off. I mean, actually, 5 of the 6 games do lock at 8 p.m. Eastern and below. The other game, 10 p.m. Eastern, the Lakers, we're not going to get the LeBron news, but I always plan that he just plays at this point. But we might not have all the news at 7 p.m. Eastern today, and this is the only standalone 7 p.m. game. So that's why Hoop's saying, Mangone's saying, don't go overboard on this game because really good pieces could open up, but you just don't have to fully cross it off. Gafford, if you want to go KCP, a Stewart, Kuzma, something like that, I think that does make some sense. Before we get in the next game too, I wanted to give a shout out to K Falik. I totally forgot earlier. K Falik had a very nice night yesterday. It was like 1,000 into like 33,000. And I think he got 10 of those 222 tickets for tomorrow, I believe. I think tomorrow is a milli maker for the NBA. And K Falik, he got a lot. I think he's over 10 now or something like that. He had a really, really good team yesterday. He had a core. He put the core up. I don't know if it was Discord or on the site, but saw some members have success with that too. So shout out to you, K Falik, for that. Next game on the slate, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Atlanta Hawks, Boston Celtics, 226.5 total. Boston is favored by 6.5. On the Boston side, they have nobody on the injury report. On the Atlanta side, John Collins is doubtful and Lou Williams is out. Hoop, I'll go back to you. This is the same time as the Drummond news, as the Van Vliet news and stuff like that. So we're going to have that news. The Edwards news, that locks 30 minutes after. So I'd hope we have the news by then. Let's assume that all the news is pretty much given to us at this time. Talk about this game.
Yeah, so this is one of those situations, I think, on the Hawks side. Okay, let's say the news doesn't go our way. All the questionable guys sit. We already passed up on the Wizards guy. Then guys like Kevin Huerter become an option. DeAndre Hunter become an option. So I think those guys are fine options. I do like Trae Young. I think he's a good play here at 10K flat. Clint Capella, it's a fair price tag, but man, I mean, they're just 140-point game in his last like 10 games I'm seeing here. Like just a different guy this year. I don't know what it is, maybe how they're using him in the offense, but just hasn't really flashed the upside.
The minutes too. They're getting more to Kung, yeah. It looks like they're getting more to Kung 18, 29, 23, 30, 31, 21, 21. Yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a tough situation with him, but Trae Young, I think, is a fine option. If we can get some studs in there, we've already talked about Luka. He's probably going to be the popular one tonight, but Trae Young's substantially cheaper at 10K versus the 12. So I definitely want some Trae Young tonight. Like I said, Huerter, Hunter, I think are fine options. In tournaments, I think Bogdanovich, no one's really going to play him coming off the bench. The price is up there, but he's flashed some big upside as of late. So I think Bogdanovich is an interesting tournament option. Boston side, I mean, these guys are just kind of tough for me. I don't know. I mean, I just have not played these guys all season long. It's worked out like for the most part. I think on FanDuel, like Jason Tatum, the price has come down like 8.9K. I think you can potentially play him if he kind of falls into your lineup. Definitely not building around a guy like Tatum, but all season long when the Celtics are close to or at full strength, which they are tonight, I just haven't played them. And it's honestly, it's worked out very well. So I just see no reason to change that strategy. Like I said, if you want to potentially play Tatum on FanDuel at 8-9, if he kind of fits into your lineups, sure, have at it, but I don't see myself doing it tonight. It's just a team that's not fantasy friendly. They've kind of been getting into these, grinded out type games, although the total here is pretty high at 226.5. Just don't see myself really coming to the Boston side all that much. It's going to be Trae Young and then, maybe a little Huerter and Hunter and then Bogdanovich in tournament. So more interest for me on the Hawks side than the Celtics side. I just haven't played the Celtics this year and I'm going to stick to it.
Yeah, I've hardly played the Celtics this year, but I think this is one of the bigger totals they have been in, but they now are fully healthy. And like they get Derek White over the trade deadline for Josh Richardson. So that's more of a usage guy, more shots off the bench. I'm with you. If I play anyone on Boston, I think it would be Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Just play the studs, hope they hit their ceiling, which they obviously can in a good pace game, but I don't really see myself going to the secondary pieces. I'm not sure how many of you guys know, guys or girls out there that know this, but Mangone's favorite NBA team is the Boston Celtics indeed. Right, Mangone? So give us a little, your favorite team. Give us the insight on what you're doing on the Boston side and then the Atlanta side.
Yeah, and if anyone says I'm a bandwagon fan, I watched Paul Pierce, Tony BigT, and Antoine Walker. Those were my glory days. That's when I got into them. And then Rondo stole my heart. I loved him. So this Boston Celtics team's been fun, though. They haven't really had like too many impressive wins. Like I felt like they beat up a bunch of lame teams, but I do think this is a team that DFS-wise, Hoop, don't you think they feel like the Suns last year, not talent-wise, but DFS-wise? We're not playing them because they're just always healthy. Doesn't that make sense, Hoop? I kind of thought about that today.
Talked about it all season long last year. The Suns, we didn't play all that much. I mean, this year's been a little bit different because they've had the injuries and stuff. But this team, for the most part, it seems like the Celtics have been healthy for the majority of the season. Tatum, Brown, it's like almost a forgotten team, and they're playing pretty solid. But, they haven't been relevant for DFS. And, I think overall we've been off of them, and it's worked out quite well despite them playing some pretty solid basketball.
Yeah, and I think Tatum at 9.8, like he's a fine spend up, but I'm not prioritizing it by any means with my lineups. Like if I fell in it, sure, I don't think it would be bad, but not something I'm going my way to roster today. I think some of these Hawks are interesting. If Collins sits, like Bogdanovich, Gallinari, Hunter, Herter, I think they all have the upside to have a good game. They also all have the downside to be that guy that sits on the bench out of nowhere, and like that's the guy that doesn't close, which could be a problem. So I do get some worries with that. I think that the studs tonight, it's kind of rough at the top. Everyone's gonna be playing Luka. So for 2K less, Trae Young at 10K is not something I'd completely ignore. I understand the matchup is not easy, but Trae Young is matchup proof. If you tell me the guy's gonna be like below 10%, then I'm starting to get interested in tournaments. It's something I'll think about, not something I'm definitely doing. It could change based on news, because if Fred VanVleet sits and OG sits, well, Malachi Flynn at 3K seems like better to go down at the point guard rather than up. So there are some really good options here, I think, that you can go to, but not guys I'm prioritizing. If I don't have the news in time and I'm trying to figure it out, like I might just not go to anyone in this game. It does feel like if you had to pick a game that's like the easiest fade tonight, it might be this one. So I'm definitely not as excited about this game. Definitely looking more forward to this Nets and Raptors game because that injury news is going to be very important.
You like yourself some Kendrick Perkins, Mangone?
No, I don't. Kendrick Perkins is terrible, I will say. But Kendrick Perkins' injury, if anyone remembers back to that Celtics finals where they played the Lakers and Perkins got hurt in game 6, Celtics were winning that finals if Perkins doesn't get hurt. He got hurt in the final couple minutes. It killed morale, and then it just killed us in game 7. But if we could make Kendrick Perkins healthy back then for that series, I think that they would have won the finals that year. I don't know if anyone else agrees or disagrees.
They would have won with the guy that sucks, you're saying? If a guy that sucks didn't get hurt, they would have won?
They needed him defensively. He wasn't, he's not that good, but they needed his defense badly because they had all the good pieces around him. Like, it was a momentum kill. Like, imagine, I think it was at the end of the game title. Imagine there's like, it's game 6. You feel like you have the game, and then out of nowhere, your best player, not your best player. That's the word.
Bro, you're just digging deeper on this one. I mean, Kendrick Perkins is the make or break.
That's a misword. But imagine you lose. Imagine
defensive anchor,
right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine you lose that. And I think it was against Shaq as well. I can't remember. That was Gasol. I'm trying to remember. It was so long ago, but he was important to that team. I will say he did play a part.
Colin asked the question, and that made me laugh. Des said Tatum or Jaylen Brown for you, Mangone. You mentioned Tatum. You didn't mention Jaylen Brown, so I'm assuming Tatum is your answer.
In 2v2s, I could easily be like, it's a toss-up. Like, if you tell me that second side of the 2v2 is a lot better, I might lean on going the Brown route, if that makes sense. But
yep, that definitely makes sense. But I agree with you. If there's one game to cross off, I think this probably would be the game that you can cross off. And you should have most of the injury news when this game starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Before we get into the next game, if you're not a member at Run Pure Sports, like I mentioned, don't know what you're doing. NASCAR in full swing, golf in full swing, MMA pay-per-view this week. Obviously NBA, we still got a lot of season left. MLB, who knows what's going on with that, but got to stay optimistic. But
sad, NBA, man, just so sad. Just hate to see it, really. I mean,
as long as it starts by the time the NBA playoffs finish up is what I say. Because,
I'm cool. I mean, the wipeout. I mean, honestly, they should shorten the baseball season. I know it's probably like an unpopular opinion, but like 162 teams is just like way too many. And I know a lot of people are shitting on them for, potentially expanding the playoffs. Like, I'm all for like cutting out some regular season games and adding more postseason, because actually postseason baseball is, pretty solid and intense. Like eliminate some of that regular season and add some postseason. I'll be good to go.
Also, can't we have the postseason in September? Why is it in October?
Yeah.
It's freezing,
Exactly.
man. Like
Freezing.
It's like the NFL playoffs where I want the games in a dome in the playoffs. Like, maybe it's me sounding bitter about the Packers last year, just being miserable against Jimmy G. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I would rather we move the playoffs to September while football's kind of easing its way in. I think that'd be way, way better. And I got a couple people in the chat agreeing with me on my Kendrick Perkins take. Not that he was the best, that he was a big game changer. Apparently, Kobe Bryant even said, he said Kobe told him when he got hurt, it changed the series. So
Kobe comes in. Kobe comes in for to back Mangone's argument. Now I gotta back down. I gotta step down because Kobe's my boy.
You had a lot of people saying that in chat and agreeing with you. That's kind of like when Chris Paul gets hurt with the Rockets, when everyone says Harden can't win and stuff like that. They had the Golden State Warriors on the ropes.
They had a chance. I mean, I won't say it for sure.
They had more than a chance.
And I guess the other thing is I don't think Title's allowed to partake in this argument because I'm pretty sure he was probably still in diapers at this point, right?
The Chris Paul?
That was a while ago for
No, the Perkins.
Oh no, I can't partake in that argument. Yeah, I'm not partaking in that one.
I thought you were saying the Chris Paul one.
No.
The Chris Paul.
The Perkins argument.
Did either of you guys see the Chandler Parsons story that he talked about Kobe?
I did. That was so funny. Yeah.
I saw the clip and I didn't watch it. I went right past it.
Well, you're gonna have to watch the clip. I don't even want to give that's not. I mean, he tells it really, really good. So you're gonna have to make sure I can. Yeah.
Yeah. He told a story about Kobe. Actually, there's this Twitter page you'll probably like, Hoop. I don't know if you know about it. It's like Kobe like highlights or something. I'll send it to you because you like Kobe and I
second best player of all time. So of course I like him.
Yeah, it's called Kobe Highlight, and it's just like random videos of him, like motivation videos, stuff like that. It's good stuff. I'll send it to you now because it's a great follow. So if you don't follow it on Twitter, it's always got some good content.
Yeah. And if anyone out there watching YouTube, if you didn't see what Chandler Parsons, his little video or his little, what he said, I think he runs a podcast or something, but his story about Kobe Bryant one day, it was a really, really cool story. We got Big T in chat. He said, man, Gone Face looking pretty thin for the big matchup with Rubio. I might have to slide in for some hoop bucks. Hoop?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, it didn't work out for him well last year. And, I don't think it's going to work out well for him this year. But even money is the bet if he wants it.
Even money, Big T. You heard him, but yeah.
Real quick, we got Uncle T wants to play me, and I just said to Uncle T, I said, sure, Uncle T, you can have the smoke. Snyder's giving me 6 points against Uncle T, so if anyone wants to take that line, slide in the DMs. I'm happy to bet them.
6 points with wow. So you and Uncle T are officially booked for the week.
I mean, I said I'll play you, but I'm not playing you the same day I play Rubio. You'll get another day. I don't know what day. I probably won't be on a bender. That's not me. I mean, who knows? Maybe you guys can catch me
Red Bull bender
after I beat Rubio, but I'm definitely down to play Uncle T. I guess at this point I accepted it. So.
Big T put on the list, Hoop. I don't know if you saw. You and JSU are booked for the co-main event. Is that
gotta see?
Is that gotta see? We only got a certain amount of time.
Maybe you gotta see. I heard the dead.
I gotta start getting some shots up. I mean, I know I'm in great physical condition. It's just a matter of getting back in basketball condition. I haven't hooped in a while.
Got a couple.
You might. Hey, stay tuned for a video. Maybe I'll be in the gym getting some shots up tomorrow.
I might want some bucks on JSU. I mean, I might have to take JSU against.
Well, the issue for JSU is going to be the height difference. I mean, I'll literally be able to just shoot
just
right over.
Shooting over a chair. That's all you say. Just shooting over a
chair. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that wouldn't even be fair. I'm more on the coaching side. Coach the kids teams.
Sometimes you got to show the kids the way. You got to show them that you're qualified to coach, and you make a statement this week. But next week, Monday, Tuesday, Hoop, I'll bring this up again. Hopefully, you're getting shots up and co-main event. There's a lot of games getting.
You might see a video of me getting some shots up. It's only going to take a week or two to get things going back in proper form. So we'll see. It's going to be fun though. Yeah, it sounds like we're locking in the final plans. You going for 3 weeks again?
Yeah, I am there from Wednesday until Tuesday morning. So yeah. It's gonna be playing with Big T with his team on Monday night too. I'll be there Wednesday. So yeah, if 3 weeks, that's what it was last week. I will be there for 3 weeks again this week.
I haven't picked my day yet, Title, but it looks like it's Tuesday or Wednesday. I got to still finalize, but I'll be there a little bit early. Got to get settled in and should be a fun time. I'm excited to get out there, and I guess I'll be going back Monday. Who knows? Maybe I'll get recruited to stay an extra day to play on Big T's team if I'm that good. Maybe, you never know. Or I'll be the towel boy rooting you guys on in a championship game. I'm not sure. So
maybe you might be on the team if you're putting in all this work. You might be the one right next to us getting those shots in. But we got Colin? We need the Big T versus title match on Run Pure YouTube. It'll probably be on Twitter. Last year, Uncle T, he Periscope, I think it was, or whatever it was on Twitter. You'll make sure if you have a Twitter, we'll follow. If you're in Discord, we'll let you know when the big event goes on. And when Mangone's playing Rubio and stuff, somebody's phone will get it out, and you'll be able to watch all the stuff. It should be a lot of fun. That's enough of that, though. 428 watching, 162 likes. Not too bad. I haven't asked for it too much at all. Hit that like button, that big red subscribe button too. We appreciate that for sure. And if you're not a member, the Saber Sim package with Run Pure Sports, $150, usually $170. You get Saber Sim almost every single sport. They have the optimizer, and it's very, very good. So make sure you check that out, $150, or you can just go over to Run Pure Sports and just get this package as well. Let's get into the next game on the slate. This is a big one with the injury news, like we were saying. The Brooklyn Nets, the Toronto Raptors, 218 total. Toronto is favored by 8.5. This is the second game that locks at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. On the Brooklyn side, Kevin Durant out, Kyrie out, Simmons out, Joe Harris out. Cameron Thomas and Andre Drummond are questionable in this game, which is pretty big news on this slate. Going to the Toronto side, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, both questionable as well. So, Mangone, I'll go throw it over to you. I know you talked about this on the Rundown show. You broke down this game already. So, just talk about this game. There's a lot of ways you can approach it with the injury news. The Up to Lock show is going to be very important today. JSU, Big T, Holden, and Glock, I believe, 4-man booth on the Up to Lock show. And they're going to be on there, I assume, when the injury news does hit. So talk about it right now. There's a lot of unknowns, but talk about it.
Yeah, definitely some unknowns. Andre Drummond, he's questionable. And that's pretty big news because his rebound rate is really key. That's going to be something that helps out some options. That helps out LaMarcus Aldridge at 4-5, or Claxton, or Griffin, or Sharp. Depends who starts. That's going to be key. I think that's important. I also think their starting lineup might show you their hand with what they're doing with this game. If it is like a Day'Ron Sharp, well, that makes you more concerned about some of these older guys, right? The Bruce Browns, the Patty Mills. That's something to consider. I don't think he's the guy to start. I do think it's going to be either an Aldridge or a Claxton, but that is something that's worth mentioning. I do think that if you are going to see Cam Thomas not play, obviously that's good for some of these other guys. I think Seth Curry helps a little bit more with his usage. I don't think Dragic is getting this massive bump. I think it's really Curry is the guy. I worry about Patty Mills. I know the price is good, but man, he just has not been as great, and it's a back-to-back. He's just really struggled. So I think Curry's fine at 6'4". It's not like my favorite play, but he's definitely in play, especially if Cam Thomas sits. I do really like James Johnson because they might need his ball handling more. And if they do need his ball handling, he's certainly there to do that. And he's willing to do it. He's willing to chuck the ball up. On top of that, fouls can be an issue with him, but still, he's such a great producer where I'm not ignoring him. I think he's a good option, but I really think Bruce Brown at 5.4K, it's one of those guys that feels like a very uncomfortable tag, but we saw this with that one game when I think Andre Drummond didn't, I don't know if he played in that one, but I'm pretty sure he didn't, and he got 52 fantasy points. Bruce Brown is definitely someone that can have a good game here in this spot. Someone that hustles. I like Bruce Brown a lot. I think he's a really interesting tournament option at 5.4 and still think there's some upside at that price based on the situation that you might have. So we need to get that injury news. It's also really important to get this Raptors injury news because OG Anunoby, I believe it was a upgrade for him in day. So if that's the case, at 5'6", he might play. And if he does, that's going to affect Scotty Barnes. It's going to affect Gary Trent. If Fred VanVleet doesn't play, that's going to be really good for Malachi Flynn. We always talk about this. This is really important with Nick Nurse. And it feels like not that it was a mistake I made yesterday, but I wish I would have jammed in Malachi Flynn more. Construction-wise, I kind of had some issues with it. It just didn't work out. But Malachi Flynn, if he's the starter, he's safe because Nick Nurse, his starters are key. Like the starters get minutes. That's just simple. So that's going to be the really important thing to look for. And then people you can easily see tonight, people in the Discord chat, you can see them getting very annoyed saying, man, Pascal Siakam, I need him to get me 55 fantasy points yesterday. And today he gets it when VanVleet plays and OG plays. I could see it. It's just like not surprising for that to happen. So he could be another contrarian option. Even if VanVleet sits, people will have trouble clicking on that name. And honestly, if you played Pascal Siakam yesterday, it didn't really matter that much. You need to have the right values. You need to have Giannis. You needed Scotty Barnes. Pascal Siakam was on some winning teams. Center just wasn't great yesterday. Some of the power forward spots too. If you didn't play Giannis and Barnes and have the right guard values, you just weren't going to win. So don't be too mad at Pascal for what he did yesterday. This is definitely a game that's going to be important. The injury news is important, and definitely guys that I'm going to consider playing. And even Fred VanVleet, if you're looking for a contrarian spend up, if he happens to play, well, no one's going to jump on him. Same with like Ant Edwards later. If he happens to play, you're just going to get lower ownership on guys where I don't think people are going to consider that as an option, where it's like a counter to people are waiting for news to come. Well, if news goes the opposite way where those guys play, you get lower ownership on those guys in tournaments.
Yeah, very, very good breakdown. And this is a back-to-back for both teams. I mean, they played each other yesterday, same place. They're running it right back. And it was a blowout. So the minutes, none of these guys were pushed to the full extent of their minutes because of how the game went. So I don't really think you have to worry about that. I was waiting for a comment in chat. King Mall, James Johnson has 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes every game. Yeah, I mean, yesterday, 2 fouls right away. It tilted a lot of people. He was definitely chalky. But, I mean, yeah, Jaren Jackson, we know he's a foul guy. There's certain guys out there. But you can't just fully ignore everybody that hacks more than other people because they still have a ceiling. It's really hard to predict foul trouble. So, yeah, it was James Johnson. I know it tilted a lot of people in Discord yesterday. The minutes weren't there because of the foul trouble, but I'd be fine going right back to him. I love your comment about Pascal Siakam, man, going, no one's going to want to click that name, especially if Fred VanVleet and stuff is in because he's been so bad. But, yeah, he has all the upside in the world as usual. Hoop, I'll go to you, talk about this game, and Scotty Barnes has to be talked about after that big boy he put up yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, this game's it's really a injury news game. I mean, we got to wait and see what happens here. I mean, if Andre Drummond doesn't play, yeah, like LaMarcus Aldridge is probably going to start. He becomes a solid option. Then you're looking at a boost for James Johnson. The guards all get a boost too. If Andre Drummond's in, not a ton of interest here. I mean, I'd still probably play James Johnson just because of the price tag. Not going to get 2 fouls in the first minute of every single game, so I'd be willing to go back to him. And then the secondary pieces similar to yesterday. They're okay options like Bruce Brown, Seth Curry, Patty Mills. But if Drummond's out, I'm going to be coming here at a very high rate, especially with LaMarcus and James Johnson, and then all those Bruce Brown, Curry, Patty Mills all get the boost as well. But we need to see if Drummond's in or out. 7:30 Eastern game, could really get it at any time here. Then on the Raptors side, again, we need the news on VanVleet and OG. OG getting upgraded. It's a situation where we might lean that he plays, but we'll have to see. And the most important point is what Mangone mentioned about Malachi Flynn. Like we talk about it all the time with Toronto. Whoever starts is who you want to play. And that became very evident last night with Malachi Flynn. He played 34 minutes, and that was a blowout, too. They were beating him by 30 the entire second half. Still got the 34 minutes. They brought him back in, I think, to start the fourth quarter when they were up by 1 million, and just played really solid. Picked his spots, 7 for 11 shooting, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He's active out there. It's, everything you want in a punt play. So if VanVleet's out, he's a guy I want to go right back to. And then, Gary Trent and Siakam, people might be hesitant to click the names tonight, but we only got a 6-game slate, and these guys do have upside. Scotty Barnes is not going to have 24 and 10 at halftime today. I'll guarantee you that. That's not going to happen. So some of these other guys, I think, have the big games tonight. Could obviously be a blowout. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The Nets are a disaster right now. But on a 6-game slate, you really can't, think like that. So definitely going back to all these pieces. I'd probably fade Barnes. He probably gets inflated ownership, though, tonight because of that monster game. And to me, yes, he looked great, but that's kind of like an outlier performance. I'd expect him to come back down a little bit tonight. But this is all about the news here. I mean, it's based around Drummond, VanVleet, OG. Our guys up to lock at a 4-man booth. They'll be covering all the news. Should probably, like I said, probably get this within 30 minutes or so.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Scotty Barnes, you cannot really have a more efficient game than he had yesterday. 34 minutes, 12 for 14 from the field, 16 rebounds, 6 stocks, 4 assists. Like the usage was 25%, which is kind of a lot for him. If you look at his game log, he doesn't always get up to 25%, but 25% usage, 34 minutes usually does not equate to 66 DFS points, 65 or whatever it was. So yeah, I mean, very, very efficient. It's very hard to replicate that. So I hear you, Hoop. The ownership definitely will probably be inflated because of that result. Before we get in the next game, 435 watch, 185 likes, 250 likes is the number I'll say. I'll remind you guys one more time. We have 3 games left. I hate always doing it, but 250 is the number. Should be pretty easy to get. And then also hit that big red subscribe button right there too. Golden State Warriors, Minnesota Timberwolves, 231.5 total. Golden State is favored by 3. Going to the injury report on Golden State. Clay, Draymond, Andre Iguodala, all of them are out. Bielitsa is questionable. On the Minnesota side, Jared Vanderbilt and Anthony Edwards are questionable. And yeah, Anthony Edwards, one of the biggest news on the slate. Jared Vanderbilt's actually pretty big news on this slate too. Starting power forward, he gets good minutes, gets some rebounds and stuff. I think Jaden McDaniels would be a very interesting play if he is out. D. Russ, obviously, Cat. Hoop, I'll go back to you. Talk about what the Minnesota news does for you, and do you have any interest in the Golden State side?
Yeah, so I mean, 6-game slate, the Anthony Edwards news is pretty big. I mean, and the reason, at least for me personally, I haven't been playing the Timberwolves because I don't play them when all 3 of these guys are in. D. Russ, Edwards, and Cat, and they've been playing together for a while here, so it's been easy fades. Now, if he's out and Vanderbilt as well, I mean, Edwards obviously a little more or quite a bit more important in terms of being in and out, then I would potentially come here if he's out. Like Russell, I think, 7.6K. It's kind of a range where there's not a lot of plays tonight. Point guard, shooting guard eligible on DK. I would have a lot of interest in him if Edwards is out. Then my second favorite would probably be Patrick Beverley at 5K. I mean, a guy that typically just doesn't really burn you when you play him. He's had some down games, but for the most part, he's getting you 25 to 32 fantasy points, which is great at his price tag. Edwards being out would obviously mean higher usage, more ball handling responsibilities. Just think he would be a solid play. He's going to be out there probably more minutes tonight with Seth Curry, the matchup with Seth Curry. So I would really like him. Cat, I don't know if I really give him a massive boost. If Edwards sits, he does get a boost, but I think for me, it's more D'Angelo Russell and Patrick Beverley. And then, yeah, if Vanderbilt's out, you get another, pretty cheap play in Jaden McDaniels that has shown some consistency in limited minutes so far. So have interest in him as well if Vanderbilt's out. On the Warriors side, Gary Payton potentially, if some of this news doesn't go our way, maybe in that previous game, Gary Payton I'd be okay with. Andrew Wiggins maybe a little bit with Clay out. I mean, he's cooled down quite a bit. Steph, I don't think I'll be going to Steph tonight. I prefer some other spends. Patrick Beverley, I'm not saying Patrick Beverley is going to be able to stop Steph Curry, but just don't love the spot. I like the other spends more than Steph. So that's kind of, where I'm at here.
Yeah, makes sense. Not about DFS, but man, what Steph did on that video in warmups, you had to have seen that, right? Van Gogh, you saw that?
I saw the video. The video
incredible indeed. I wish AP was on here.
He's just like so good at shooting, dude. It's like
I wish AP was on here. I could give him a little flack about when he said Steph, his brother was a little better shooter than Steph. But
that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah.
AP is not on here, unfortunately. But hey,
got to be like the best shooter. I mean, he's got to be the best shooter of the basketball of all time.
Yeah, it can't even be a question. He changed the whole game. But I agree with you. Tonight's not the night that I'm going to be going there either. As far as Cat, I know some people bring up what he's done against this team and kind of recently. On January 27th, he played 35 minutes. He had 58 DK points. And then on the 16th of January, he played 29 minutes and had 46 DK points. So he plays this team pretty well. And obviously without Draymond, Looney's their starting center. They just don't have too many bigs. Like Bielitsa, if he plays, Kuminga, Juan Toscano Anderson, like Golden State just has a hard time matching up with Towns. So if Edwards is out, I think I like him a decent amount. And Mangona's talking about the center position, like Siakam and stuff like that. Center isn't the best today, so I do think it's interesting, but I always like playing Cat. Mangona, I'll go to you. Talk about Anthony Edwards. He's your boy. Talk about that injury news, and then any Golden State Warriors for you.
Yeah, and has been hurtful and frustrating. He's price isn't bad, but man, like if he's in, I'm not looking to play him. I understand if you want like a 1% play, like, yeah, like no one will play him, but I'm not looking to do that today. I'm kind of hoping he sits, and Vanderbilt could sit too. And if he does sit, like D'Lo, like I talked about before, like people will be locked into KCP, and D'Lo will be a really good shooting guard option that I'll be trying to plug in there. I think Cat, like, here's an idea that you can do. I talked about this on the bet show. What if Daniel Gafford comes out there and let's say he struggles to start? He's got like 6 fantasy points, and like maybe Rui comes in there and does better instead, or maybe he gets into foul trouble. Maybe he gets ejected. Who knows? Well, then you can go to the contrarian option of Cat and just plug in all the chalk plays. If you already know that that route's failing, you know all those teams are going to struggle. So that's something you can always consider as like a late pivot if it goes really, really bad, especially if you have an Ann Edwards sit. I mean, Cat against a guy like Looney, I mean, Looney's going to have trouble going out there to cover that. So I think Cat could have a good game. I like D'Lo the most against, with Ann Edwards possibly sitting. I think that's important. And also like Vanderbilt, if he happens to sit, well, with value not being the best on the slate, a guy like McDaniels, I think, certainly could be in play. On top of going to maybe McDaniels, like Pat Beverly at 5K could certainly be a decent value play that has some upside. And if Ant doesn't sit, there's more opportunity there. So there are definitely chances to play some of these Timberwolves. I'm really not looking to play any of these Golden State options. Maybe Andrew Wiggins, a little revenge narrative for him, but I don't really love Andrew Wiggins here in this spot. I mean, 6.2K, it's not bad. Not a guy I'm prioritizing, but if he's the last guy in, I probably won't say no, because he does have a weird thing for revenge narratives. He is one of those guys that has been pretty good at that. So, and on top of it, it's not the greatest slate. These value plays aren't like what we've seen yesterday, at least at this current time. Certainly it could change, but right now the value plays aren't as great. And that's why I think you got to consider some of these mid-tier options and like value plays like Patrick Beverly here.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, yesterday we had Vincent Goodwin, which I would definitely consider a value. Malachi Flynn opened up when he was announced starting. Trey Lyles was announced starting, which opened up good value. So who knows? With these injuries, value definitely could open up. Maybe starting lineups we get that we don't expect that could open some up. But yeah, as of now, value isn't the greatest. AP, he said it was a joke. Come on, title. AP, fair enough. When you get Straka, the outright winner, I can't really say much, but always lurking in chat, AP. I love it. Right on there, Snap called me. It was a joke, so I'll let the people know. But Steph, definitely the best shooter to ever play. Next game on the slate, 2 games left. Los Angeles Clippers, Houston Rockets, 227.5 total. The Clippers are favored by 7. On the Clippers side, Paul George, Norman Powell are still out. Nothing changed there. As far as Houston, though, more injury news that we're waiting on. Garrison.
Title go out on us?
I was going to say, I think title went out on us, not me. I was worried it was me on my end, but
yeah. So it sounds like just like Kevin Porter questionable, Garrison Matthew questionable. So nothing too major. I mean, the one thing that stands out to me, Clippers price tags are on the rise quite a bit. Reggie Jackson, 8.2K. That's kind of tough. Terrence Mann, 6.2. The one guy though that I think that does stand out in this game a little bit, Marcus Morris at 5.9K. The price is down. Minutes remain steady, but the production has been pretty crappy. Back-to-back, 18, 17-point fantasy games. I think at 5.9K, I'm willing to go back to him. It's just a weird slate where there's not, I was just kind of going through this cash chart and putting some names on it. I'm having trouble identifying like guys that I for sure want to play tonight without this news. But Marcus Morris seems just like a solid dude at 5.9K. The Rockets, though, on the other hand, not the greatest team for fantasy at this point. They bring Dennis Schroeder in, coming off the bench, takes away a lot of usage from some of these guys. So if Porter does indeed play here, I don't know how much interest that I have in the Rockets side. I guess the guy I would probably go to, feel the most comfortable with, maybe Christian Wood, but the minutes have been all over actually, I don't like Christian Wood now that I pull this up. The minutes have kind of been all over. The production hasn't been great. I think I'll most likely be off the Rockets, like regardless what happens on the slate. Clipper side, the only guy that really stands out to me, I think, is Marcus Morris. I mean, even Zubac all the way up to 6K, coming off a 50 fantasy point game. I'm not trusting that. Mangone, what are your thoughts here on Clippers Rockets?
Yeah, so I trust Zubac more than you. His paint touches have been really good. The key that I'm a little more scared about is Ty Lue obviously messing with minutes. That can happen at times. But I think Zubac's like a really interesting tournament play. Not someone you go like, you don't need a lot to get overweight, right? You could play him and me and maybe get like 6%. And I think you're very overweight at that point. Everyone's going to be uncomfortable with that tag. And if you do play a Zubac, and I think a lot of this kind of plays into how I'm thinking about this slate. Let's say KPJ sits. Well, if he happens to sit, I kind of like what can happen for some of these Houston Rockets values, where then maybe I jam in like a clipper or two with those guys. That's something that I might look at and consider, because I feel like I've had some success when I played like the Rockets and the team playing against them, because the Rockets are easy to beat up fantasy wise. And if the Rockets play well and keeping it close in the game, then those other guys get there and have big games. And like, let's say that we have a KPJ who sits. Well, Eric Gordon at 4.6K, he's a great pivot off of a KCP, I think, as an interesting option. Again, that means if Kevin Porter sits, that's going to be important for sure. Even like a Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder has been pretty good when he's gotten the run when KPJ hasn't been in there. So I think he's someone that you can consider. I do know that KPJ, he got the haircut. They cut the braids off of him, so he's got the fresh haircut narrative. But Hoop, he did it for a good reason. He did it for the lady. And hey, maybe KPJ is a guy that's been hitting the bench, and maybe it's a guy that you need to be looking to play if he happens to be in there. Or maybe he doesn't play because he's a little tired legs from having too much action.
Maybe that's why Title got the haircut, to hit the bench more often. Is there some similarities there, Title? Is that why you got that crew cut?
The girls like the long hair. Big T was saying like, oh, the girls are probably flocking over you now. But it's a different generation, I guess. The girls like the flow, so that was not why it.
Then why'd you get the haircut?
Well, I get it twice a year. It was that time, but also, and I said it, I want to see when the shot goes in Big T's mouth. I need to see it.
I do like that. Okay,
I don't want that hair. I mean, I had to wear a headband. Sometimes it fell out. It wasn't quite long enough to get like a pony and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's also work. That awkward stage. Anyone out there with long hair, man, it's a little work getting over that. So I was like, I'm not doing that.
Title, my hair's long right now too. I'm debating if I get a cut before, but I might have to whip out a headband playing some.
Get the head out. Let's see it.
Oh, it's a mess right now. Yeah, it's long, dude.
Yeah, that's way long for what you usually have.
Yeah. It's very, very long. So it's not really done up really well right now. But it's a lot to manage for sure. So I'm with you. I might have to get a haircut before I play some hoops at Big T's. Last time we got the haircut, I went to an unknown place, and I'm not doing that again. I'm doing my research.
Was that the last haircut? Because I remember that.
Yeah, I got the quick cut at like a place that I hadn't been to. I went to the same place for 10 straight years, right? And then like I was down the shore and like I needed to get it cut. And then I was like, okay, I'll just go to this place, and went to a random place and they butchered my hair. Research will be done well. I already have a place picked out, got some advice from someone. So hopefully this time, if I do have the cut, it'll be looking good in Kentucky.
You can get a referral from Holden. I mean, he always got that nice hair going.
I did get a Holden referral, but my other friend, I think he gave me a good one. I think it sounds like it's going to be pretty decent. Sounds like the lady knows what she's doing too. So I like the lady over the man cutting hair. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I feel like they got better attention to detail for sure with that. So.
It was my first time really going to somewhere new out here in Texas. I mean, it wasn't really, I said, he cut it shorter than I wanted. I gave him very basic stuff. I'll never complain about a haircut. Couldn't put a hat over it any time, but man, it is scary walking into a new place that, I mean, hair, it grows back, but not as fast as sometimes you'd want it. So I hear you, man, going, you don't want someone messing up.
I didn't care until last year's disaster. Last year's disaster was too much. It was terrifying. So then we still got the picture, Hoop. It was great. When I woke up, it looked like absolutely ridiculous. So
I've had someone do me dirty with my hair too, and I'll never go back to a place. I'll do my research every single time. I hear you there. We got Don in chat. He says, I just took the dreads out. I didn't get the haircut. No, the dreads, yeah, that picture is now out there, but no, I haven't had those dreads in for a little while. Colin, yeah, the girls like the long hair. You know how it works, Colin. Jordan, my man, titles, the girls don't like the long hair. You're messing with the wrong girls, Jordan. I don't really know what to tell you on that one. They like the flow, that's for sure. Hoops over there shaking his head.
See, well, I'm at the point now where I have to keep it short to cover up the gray. I realize the shorter you go, the less gray you can see. So in 10 years, your demeanor on this might change.
No, I got the weight on the side too, a little bit.
Yeah.
So I got to watch it.
If you go short, you can't see it. So that's kind of where I'm at with the haircuts.
I'm hoping 50 years old is when the gray start. I don't even want to think about that gray hair. That would be hurtful. But
now I have a ton of gray. I mean, I'm still pretty solid, but if you get close, I mean, there's definitely some grays mixed in there.
Yeah, you can't tell right now. You're doing it fine. K Falk, on the other hand, well, aren't you all lucky? Please go back to the NBA slate. I'm getting jealous. Hey, K-Falik, I would trade that $1,000 to $33,000 hit last night and those 10 milli maker hits to maybe go bald just for.
That's just a drop in the bucket for K Falik too. Just add insult to injury. I mean,
I trade my whole life for the water filtration business.
Yeah, we got to get in that industry for sure.
Yeah, K-Falik's definitely doing it right. That's for sure. Winners in the filtration business, in the NBA business for sure. But I don't know what happened. I think AP, I mean, he texted his man right when I called him out with the Seth and Steph, and he just booted my Wi-Fi out for a little while.
Put your ass in timeout.
Yeah, I heard what you guys were saying too was the weirdest thing. Like, it looks like we lost title, blah, blah. And I'm literally like hearing everything. It was the weirdest
thing. It was a quick pivot though. We picked up pretty quickly.
You did well. Who people in chat were complimenting you on that. So I appreciate it. We got one more game left on the slate though. 235 likes. So 15 likes to get the plays of the day by the time we stop talking about this game. I know you guys and gals will get it done, but Dallas Mavericks, Los Angeles Lakers, 216.5 total. Dallas is favored by 5.5. This game locks at 10 p.m. Eastern. The other games, the last other games, the Rockets, the Timberwolves lock at 8 p.m. Eastern. So we have a 2-hour window. And yeah, we have some news in this game. Avery Bradley out, Anthony Davis out. LeBron is questionable. Man, it feels like he's questionable every single day. So I don't even know what to make of that. I'm going to assume he's in. I think most people are going to assume he's in. And you're not really going to have time to make pivots. Like, I wouldn't backload your lineup for that LeBron news by any means. So questionable, assume he's going to play. As far as the Dallas side, Tim Hardaway, Neil Aquina, Marquise Chris, Trey Burke, Theo Pinson, they are all out. Yeah, Luka, we talked about it on both sites. He's definitely going to be the most popular spend up on the slate today. Dwight Howard's been starting 4.3K. We're talking about how center is not the best today. I think he's a little interesting at 4.3K. The one guy that I just am telling myself I am done touching is Russell Westbrook, which I've been saying that forever, but FanDuel just keeps lowering the price and makes you just click that name. Man, I didn't even put him on the cash chart today. I'm so done with that guy. It is so tilting. 6.6K on FanDuel. That guy's not a good basketball player. I don't know how else to say it. So I'm not playing him. What
if LeBron's sad? Is that something you're interested in?
Well, I probably wouldn't have room by then. But even if he's sat, like what? Then the turnovers go from 6 to 12, and like
it's just
I like so that bad.
The thing is, yes, to answer your question,
I think I like that move on FanDuel's part.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great move. I mean, it's costing me money, but like that's how you do it. Like you get them at a price that like maybe some people will keep playing in. They hooked me, that's for sure. But to answer your question, man, going yes, if LeBron was ruled out right now, I would play Russell Westbrook on FanDuel. I wouldn't like it, but I just would. But talk about this game. We're not going to get the LeBron news. So yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, we really won't have the LeBron news, which like we were talking a little bit about chat earlier about how to handle the situation. And I do think LeBron probably plays, but like you do have to have like the plan. Like, let's say like you're building out your ledge, like you have the spaces. Like if LeBron doesn't play, like have that strategy figured out, right? Especially if you put LeBron into your lineup. So think through what you're going to do with that. I think that's really important. Like if you're going to put LeBron in there and he happens to be like in the utility, like make sure you have like a 2v2 where you leave 800 and you like your other option. Like definitely look at those beforehand when making the decisions. Luka is 12K, definitely going to be probably the highest owned stud on the slate, and for good reason. I mean, if value opens up even more and more, Luka's ownership goes up, the raw points are more valuable. So I think Luka is a good play. Not someone I'm just saying like I'm jamming on all my teams for sure. I think he's on a lot of teams right now, but also there's reasons if you fade him, it could be one big fade that like helps you be a little bit different. But I do think he is the best play. It's all about your full lineup construction. I think that's really, really key. So I like Luka, definitely going to be on some of my teams tonight for sure. On the Lakers side, man, it's just tough to figure out what to do with these guys. Yes, there's no DeAndre Jordan. And if for some reason now, because he's not there, maybe they go with LeBron back at the 5. Well, that's going to change a lot. And of course, you may not have like the opportunity to change your lineups like that, but let's say you're playing Showdown tonight, which like that could be really important. Well, LeBron at the 5 is way, way better than he is in other positions. So I think that LeBron at the 5 is going to be very important. If you get that, that opens up Carmelo Anthony at 4.8K as a really good option in tournaments, I think, that you can go to, because then he gets the floor stretch for him, and he has someone who's actually good at passing, giving him the ball, not DeAndre Jordan throwing it into the stands. Then you also have Malik Monk, 4.6K, someone who has been really decent this year at times, especially when LeBron was at the 5. So I think that could be really important as well. That's something I'm waiting to see, because I'm curious to see what they do with their backup position. Maybe they do go out and start Dwight Howard. And if they do, at 4.3K, he's definitely going to be an interesting option to put into your center spot if you do happen to save that position. So that's something to look at as well. And then Dallas, like I said, it's just really Luka. I don't think I'm messing with anyone else there, but this is definitely a slate where you don't have anything else to switch to. So you need to make a plan for it. That's definitely going to be very important. And I do think it's not a bad night to play some Showdown for sure. So check out Rubio's playbook with that and in the Discord chat, because I think we could have some interesting stuff pop up that could change that slate up and kind of confuse some people. And if you're on top of it, you could definitely ship the Showdown.
Yeah, that's a very sharp point. And it's, the standalone time, 2 hours after all the other games lock. So you'll have plenty of time to prep. Rubio does a great job with the playbook. I saw a lot of members had success yesterday. He had the Javon Carter call, which came in really low owned. Rubio all over it. So yeah, shout out Rubio, man, going and think that's, and they have to have decent prize pools today. I haven't looked, but what, 50K up top is my guess or something like that. So
they also don't have like a night slate, right? I don't know if there's one like a 3-gamer at 8, but like they with the 2 hours, that's key. I'm sure they'll be able to get more time in for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm assuming there's big prize pools. Good point there. Hoop, I'll go over to you. Obviously, there's Luke on the slate. Can talk about him, but what else you seen in this game?
Yeah, just got the Drummond news. He's out. So
Cam Thomas in. So that's big. That's good to know. Obviously, it helps a little bit there.
Yeah, so one piece of the puzzle right there. I mean, I'm assuming Aldridge gets the start, and I think he would be a pretty solid play, obviously, if he's in there. So got to see 7:30. We should get the starters.
Bagley's out too, so doubtful to out. Frank Jackson will play, and Hamidou Diallo will play as well. So that's most of the updates here.
Yeah, so just kind of waiting on Anthony Edwards and Van Fleet and OG, but that's all pretty big.
And Vanderbilt too. Vanderbilt could matter.
Vanderbilt, yeah. In terms of this game, I mean, Luka's a great play. I mean, easier to play on FanDuel at 10-8 on DK. He's 12K. I don't think you have to play him at 12K, but to me, he's the best friend up here. I mean, the Lakers are a disaster, and he should be able to get whatever he wants here. I mean, they're not playing much defense, especially against guards. So I think he is a very solid option tonight if you can get him in. If we get some more value, it makes it easier on DK, but on FanDuel, it's very simple to get him in, regardless of what value we have. Not really interested in any other Mavericks guys. Kudos to FanDuel, I think, for what they're doing on Russell Westbrook. I mean, entice us, the 8-3 on DK, no one's playing him if LeBron's in. Obviously, if LeBron's out, which I think LeBron plays. I mean, I think that's just one of these, typical questionable tags on him. But you got a decision to make at 6'6". I mean, I think the guy fucking sucks at basketball, and I've been saying it all season long and for a couple of years, and we've all kind of had that same mindset. I mean, he's an absolute disaster out there. He has no shot. He's erratic. He's a disaster. I mean, if they want to turn their season around, I think they just take this guy, put him on the bench, and let Malik Monk go out there. I think they just signed DJ Augustine, so maybe they are thinking about doing something different at the point guard position. But I will tell you, Russell Westbrook's not the answer. OG out, so kind of now we just need Van Fleet and
we did get a Van Vliet questionable, so and of course we saw on Saturday that could just change out of nowhere again.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's important to get that news. That's very valuable. And if Van Vliet sits, we know like the slate's going to really change completely.
Yeah. LeBron and Luka are probably the only guys for me in this game. I'm assuming LeBron's in. Dwight Howard to some extent too. He had that big game. I believe that was Friday night. Had a real big game. He's not going to play a ton of minutes, but he's a guy that can just go off in a short period of time, like for 40 and like 20 minutes, which is basically what he did on Friday. So I have a little interest in him. But it's just the Lakers are a tough team right now. They're not very good. They don't have anyone that's producing consistently outside of LeBron. So yeah, I mean, standalone 10 p.m. Eastern game, you can't really build your team's waiting to see if LeBron does play or not. I mean, I think he does play. I think you have to have that mindset, I think, tonight when you're building teams, that LeBron does play, and if for some reason he sits, you can make some pivots if you have the flexibility, but would not be building around the LeBron news.
Yep, 100% agree with that. Yeah, news is starting to come in. The Up to Lock show, 4-man booth, Glock, JSU, Big T, Holden today. Going to be very important.
Yeah, our all-star team out there tonight. Damn.
Yep. I mean, for a lot of news, and starting lineups are going to be
Van Fleet's out, so you got basically all the news we need now.
There we go. Van Vliet out. So
yeah, you have all the news you need to make decisions, I think, on what to do for the 7:30 game. But like, I do think I do think Ant sitting is really big. I think that really
Correct,
helps because you've gained more value too, right? And that gives you opportunities to get to other spots. And that's going to help Luka too. We should mention that again. Like Luka becomes a better play when you have all these really good value plays that are going to just be in all of your lineups. And we know the Raptors are going to probably start Flynn and play him a ton.
Yep. I was going to say, Malachi Flynn now. I mean, more and more value is opening up. Malachi Flynn now. Scotty Barnes, I mean, he went off last game, but like he has to rebound more with OG out and stuff like that. So Toronto is going to be very, very popular.
Yeah, I will say, I did say I would fade him. Now I will not fade him if I'm building a lot of teams. With all those guys out, I'm reversing course on the Barnes fade. I would be playing Barnes tonight.
Yeah. And then, on the Brooklyn side, without Drummond, like you'd expect Aldridge to slide in the starting lineup. Who knows if they would go like James Johnson at the 5 to match up with Siakam and like Kessler Edwards or something. I'm assuming it's going to be Aldridge, but you really never know what's going to happen. So starting lineups are going to be important for sure. The Up to Lock show, you got to tune into that. But let's see. The likes, 254 likes. You guys did get it done for us. We appreciate it. So it's going to be time for the plays of the day. Mangone, I'm going to head over to you. I don't know I don't know what you're playing. Something about hockey I was trying to think of.
Sweet Travis.
Yes, thank you, Hoop. Sweet Travis play of the day. Who do you got for us?
JT would be very upset by that. Don't upset JT
that's
leading
on
up
me.
to Kentucky. JT's not a guy to mess with for sure. So
I would not mess with JT. They would probably be the last person at RPS that I would mess with. That is for sure.
I might have to second that notion as well. There's a lot. Yeah.
He may have a pug for a dog, but he's not something.
First of all, before you in your play of the day, that was one of the most I forget who commented that, but that was one of the most shocking things with JT having that dog. I did not see that coming at all. It has to be the wife. Has to be.
Yeah, it was.
Go ahead.
No, the pug was great, but he's posted in the Discord a couple times, which has been fun. But I got D'Angelo Russell as my play of the day. Of course, this could obviously news-wise, it could hurt it a little bit, but I still think he's a good contrarian option, even at 7.6. I kind of lean Ant doesn't play. I also don't like the shooting guard position today that much. Like, I don't think like KCP chalk is it. And of course, might change a little bit with this slate, but I think he's a really good spend-up option that could be a bit contrarian. So this Warriors team is not the same too, right? No Draymond Green, no Klay Thompson. That's a different kind of team. This is a team that isn't maybe that same defensive team. So yes, it might be a second night of a back-to-back, but I'm hoping Ant sits, and I want D'Angelo Russell as my play of the day at 7.6K at the shooting guard position.
I like it. And our boy Dez, he's saying we forgot a little bit. Kevin Porter Jr. is also news we are waiting on too, and going to get that around the Minnesota time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but that news is way less significant now. Like when we talked about the game, there was some significance to it. Now that we have all these guys out, like the Porter Jr. news is like way less important.
Yep. I agree with that. It was an out, I think. And I also think like we know how the Raptors are. Like this is just a really great spot. So sometimes you got to find different ways to get, be different. So that's something to think about as well as you're constructing your lives. Think about the full ownership. Like I agree with what Hoop said in golf, like 12% ain't anything, but like if you have like all your guys are 20%, like, well, at the end of the day, if there's one like lone guy that gets the job done, you're in trouble then. So like you have to make sure that you're also having at least one guy to be a little bit different to help get it home.
Yeah, I'll go to myself. SO play of the day, man, it's tough. I'm not 100% sure he's going to be in my core on the site because we're still registering this news. Who knows what starting lineups, like you're going to have to play Toronto. Some of Brooklyn's going to be a good play, but my play of the day is going to be Marcus Morris, 5.9K on the Clippers. I don't think people are really going to play him at all. If you're a game log watcher, you look at the past 2 games, they've been bad. He's had double-digit shot attempts in both those games. He's going to go out there. He's going to shoot double-digit times. If he gets hot, he can show a ceiling. He had 40, 35, 3 and 4 games ago. The shot has to fall. It is a little more risky, but 5.9K, I think he has the upside to really break a slate that people aren't going to play him. So going to go Marcus Morris, and he gets the Rockets, who I always like to pick on too. Rockets are one of my favorite teams to pick on all year. They don't play defense at all. So Marcus Morris, the SO play of the day. Hoop, the Rich Barons play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Let's see. I'm gonna go with. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Go Siakam. I'm gonna hope that people, look at the game logs and see he has not been very good lately. I think he bounces back in a big way here. Like Scotty Barnes, 24 and 10. He's not going for 24 and 10 in the first half again. They're gonna need some of these other guys to step up. Gary Trent, Siakam. I like both, but I'm going to go Siakam as the rich parents play the day. I think he bounces back in a big way here against this Raptors team. I mean, he should be able to beat up on these guys in interior with Drummond out. So I think he has his way. He has a big game. And like I said, the performances haven't been great lately. I think it's a good bounce back spot for Siakam here.
I like it. Siakam, D. Russ, Marcus Morris, the 3 plays of the day. 6 games. We had a lot of fun on this show. The Up to Lock show is going to be right after this show, so make sure to go check that out. You can always find the link at Run Pure Sports. If you're not a member, head over Run Pure Sports, check it out. Playbook's already up. Core plays are going to be up. Heat map is already up. Cash chart, you name it. Discord, one of my favorite tools we have. Make sure you get in the Discord if you are a member. Breaking stuff down, answering questions all the way up until lock and past lock. So head over, Run Pure Sports, check it out. The SaberSim package, $150 a month. On your way out, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Thanks for making chat fun. All you guys, let's see. We got Kevin, Corey, Daddy, Chris Lee, Anchor. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It was a very fun show. 6-game slate. We got a lot of the news that we're waiting on. Starting lineups will be important. And you never know. It's the NBA. Random stuff could pop up and we'll adjust to that. But that's going to do it for us. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Get up to the top of the leaderboards with the RPS logos. For Hoop, Mangone, Simon Behind the Sticks. I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.